The year was 1778. The Northern Neck, along with the rest of Virginia, was engaged in battle with the British Army for American independence. The Royal Navy attacked Patriot ships, as well as coastal farms and plantations. But against that backdrop, something else was at work: a battle in the spiritual realm. The Church of England was the established church, dominating the colonies. But there was a growing Protestant movement, particularly among Baptists. In 1778, a charismatic preacher named Lewis Lunsford became the founding pastor of Morattico Baptist Church in Lancaster County.
Lewis Lunsford was a young man, and when I say young, he was a young man in his 20s who was from Stafford. And he was a pastor. He was going around part of the Northern Neck in Stafford preaching. Got a great reputation. He found his way to the Northern Neck and came here, was befriended by a gentleman by the name of Alexander Hunton, who convinced him to become the first pastor of Morattico Baptist Church.
The church faced hostility from the established order. The Church of England was almost a government institution. It taxed all members of the parish and required regular attendance. The spirit that led to the war against England may have also led to the founding of the Morattico Baptist Church.
But what was happening here in 1778 was that in the Northern Neck of Virginia, there had been so much animosity with the Church of England, and there were so many people who were wanting to separate from the Church of England that the mission field here was tremendous. And so what Lewis did was he came to the Northern Neck of many places and preached. But what I think the genius of Lewis Lunsford was that he knew people. And Alexander Hunton, who was the founder of Morattico Baptist Church, was someone who was able to convince him of the beauty of the Northern Neck, what the Northern Neck could provide, but mainly what really the value he could present here in pulling people away from the Church of England, which was a very big deal, as you know, and bringing them into the Baptist denomination, which was an even bigger thing because Baptists were not well known. And so, I think what Lunsford saw was a tremendous opportunity to begin and to grow a church, what we call planting a church in a rural area, and the potential was tremendous, and he took full advantage of it.
The early Morattico Baptist Church had no building. The first services were held under brush arbors. The present building was constructed in 1856, miles away from the village of Morattico. So, how did Morattico Baptist Church get its name?
In the beginning, when I mentioned Alexander Hunton was a fairly wealthy landowner, and he owned land and had what was described as a mansion on Lancaster Creek in Richmond County. His home sat directly across the creek from the village of Morattico, and hence he named his home Morattico Hall. And after he began Morattico Church, he was honored by the congregation for his work in getting the church started, because the church met at his home first. And then once the church was built on this property, the services were moved from his home to here, but his home was called Morattico Hall. And so in honor of his work to get the church started, the few members at the time decided to name the church Morattico Baptist Church to honor him.